I know, it's DBJ, and yes, I know it's another house rule video. Relax, people. It'll be over shortly. Anyway, it's an idea. Naked fighting, getting the hell up out of there, right? So, person has a fighting class character, but they want to be more quick, more agile. They don't want to be dressed down in armor. They want to be the naked fighter. They want to be Conan. They want to be a Spartan warrior. They want to be like Spartacus, Robin Hood, a swashbuckler, Assassin's Creed. They want to be quick. Even though they're playing a fighter class, they want to be quicker, not take damage. So, I mentioned in another video, I'm going to mention it again. I like it when players give up something to gain something else. So, give up armor proficiency. If you give up their heavy armor proficiency down to nothing, then when they wear armor, they are under the same restrictions that a wizard would. Instead of spell failures, they get skill failure checks when wearing the armor. I'm going to relate this to Star Wars, strangely enough. Think about this. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, they go to save Princess Leia. They beat up some guards. They don the armor from the guards. Stormtroopers, and instead of wearing the armor the whole rest of the quote-unquote game, they walk around in the armor. They look uncomfortable. Hell, they can't. Han Solo can't even effectively use a bluff check. Luke Skywalker looks like he's like a midget running around in the armor. Yes, it's cool. It could just be simply failing a skill check, but why take the armor off if the armor's good? I mean, they could still run around looking like the guards and confusing people. Yes, it's the flavor of the movie, but if this was a game, what would be the incentive of a player character who puts armor on to take the armor off? Well, they are not as useful. They do not have full access to all of their skill abilities when wearing this armor. Their concept is, I am an armorless character. Therefore, there is a penalty when wearing armor. Allah, give up your armor proficiency, so when you're wearing armor, you have difficulties. Now, what do you get? Well, I already did one video about this, but here's another version, another way to do it. I believe in 5th edition D&D that if you do an all-out defense, meaning like, hey, I just want my character to dodge, I want to put my shield up and just block, all enemies that attack you are at disadvantage. It's a great idea. It's real simple. I don't want to break the AID system for D&D 5. AID, or the aid system, is advantage, inspiration, disadvantage. Of course, advantage and inspiration, you roll 2d20, or essentially d20 twice and take the highest roll, and disadvantage is the same thing, 2d20, take the lowest roll. I'm calling it the aid system because I feel that this works especially well with damage dice. But hey, we're worrying about getting the hell out of dodge and dodging people. So I would allow that player to get their proficiency bonus and or an additional dex bonus to their dodging when they do a full-out dodge or parry. So example is, I want to make a character like an Assassin's Creed type, and he's in a crowded group of people, surrounded by like 5 or 6 guards. They say arrest him. No, I just want to dodge through the crowd and get the hell up out of there. Okay, DM says, well, all the guards coming after you still have disadvantage, but every other player has that too. So why did I give up my armor proficiency? Well, not only do you have your dex bonus added to that, but you get your proficiency bonus added to it as well. So they roll disadvantage against you, and they have to beat your armor class plus your proficiency bonus. I thought of the idea of doubling up your dex bonus, but if you don't have a dex bonus, then you're kind of SOL. You know, how do you double a 0? So I would go with proficiency. If you give up your armor, then you gain a proficiency bonus. And I would say that would be included with dodging. Now here's another tricky one, and this is the parry. The parry, you're using a weapon, so maybe your character isn't very quick, but they're a weapons fighter, so they block, they're blocking the guards' pole arms that are trying to corner you, and you parry and block their pole arms aside with your long sword or your battle axe or something like that. It could also be used against creatures. So creatures got a jaw full of razor sharp teeth and claws, and you throw your staff or battle axe or your two-handed weapon up into the creature's mouth or against their claws as they try to scramble over you, using your weapon as essentially like a makeshift shield. In that case, I give you a parry bonus. Now, hear me out on this, because like I said, a lot of these things I have not play tested, and I would like to see how they work out. If you instead of doing an all-out dodge, what you're doing is you are parrying. So instead of giving the enemy a disadvantage, what you do is whatever your attack bonus would be. Remember, this is a character that's given up their armor proficiency. They take their attack bonus and add that to their armor class temporarily. So they take their attack bonus and it becomes a defense bonus. The weapon's damage, they roll the weapon's damage, and that subtracts from the damage they take. So this is a character that aborts to a defensive position. Their friends run behind them. The dwarf has got his battle axe. The big scary creature with the large claws and mouth full of razor sharp teeth is coming after them. Dwarf orders his friends away. The dwarf, playing a naked fighter, just bare chested. He's given up his armor. He's given up his shield proficiency. He's just got his battle axe. That's what he is. So the player says, well, I'm going to stand there and defend myself and parry this creature's attacks while they run. Game Master's like, okay, you hold up your battle axe in two hands and try to press this creature back as it slobbers over your weapon. Now add your attack bonus to your armor class. Game Master rolls, wow, well, I rolled an 18. I still hit you. All right, well, how much damage do you do with your weapon? Player that's the dwarf, rolls damage for the weapon. Okay, I roll a D whatever, plus my, strength bonus, and I roll a 6. All right, Game Master picks up some dice for the creature, rolls it, subtracts 6 from it, and if say 3 points gets through, I do 9 points, minus 6 from your parrying with the weapon, you take 3 points of damage. That is a way to do it. This would be an abort action, so it would be the equivalent of dodging, right? It doesn't happen every round. The player would have to declare it. So instead of, let's say the Assassin's Creed style character is a rogue, they get their proficiency bonus added to their defense, and plus all their enemies get disadvantage when hitting them. You can do a parry maneuver, and a parry maneuver would mean that you're instead of using the AID system, they just add it to their armor class. The Game Master still rolls as normal, but they use their weapon to subtract damage. And lastly would be the tough character. You're playing like a Conan style character. You want to be Conan, you want to be tough, shrugging off weapons and attacks. Your character just gets nicked and scratched. You've got battle scars all over your body. So in this instance, like I've mentioned before, in this instance, you give up your armor proficiency. You may give up your shield proficiency as well. And instead of having those when you defend yourself, your proficiency bonus, and then +1 if you give up your shield, becomes a damage reduction. It becomes damage reduction automatically. And so you would get a -3 from the damage. So I'm Conan with my sword. I'm going to stand in the way so the creature can't get through to my friends. And in this instance, instead of, because they're taking a defensive stance, in this instance, what I would do is, because they're taking a defensive stance, they are the quote-unquote tough character, they are essentially getting ready to get hit by an attack while their friends defend themselves. I would use the AID, advantage, inspiration, disadvantage thing, and use disadvantage on the damage dice. So, Game Master, hey, I get to roll 3d6 for the damage, a d6 for the claws and the mouth. Instead, because you decided to take a defensive action, I'm going to roll twice as many dice and since I get to roll 3, I'll roll 6 dice, pick the lowest dice against that character. So, anyway, I threw a bunch of stuff out there. I know it's kind of crunchy. I'm not sure if I would add both the DR system and the disadvantage system. It's a possibility, instead of having a damage reduction, that instead they receive, I would hate to give them permanent disadvantage die rolls, because I believe that's just as powerful as the damage reduction. So that meaning that if you made a Conan style character, that all damage done to your character is taking the lowest, rolling double the dice and taking the lowest half of the lowest ones. But at the lower levels, I can't see that being that bad. It would make that Conan style character, the bare-chested character, pretty tough, and probably even more tough than the armored characters who are in, plate mail and shield, unless you're using other rules. So, again, of course, tell me what you think. Using some, all, neither of the rules, how much of a break effect. Now, again, you know me, I always like to create, not destroy. One particular character class could benefit from it, but you also have to remember in what manner would they benefit. You still have other character classes. You have so many things out there: falling, dodging, tripping, poisons, gases, saving throws, things like that, that other players and characters can benefit from. A lot of these rules, essentially, wizards don't benefit anything from these rules, because they don't have anything to give up. But I will add this fact in there. I can imagine a wizard using like the spell like shield or mage armor, and instead reinterpreting it as you would the damage reduction rule. So instead of I think mage armor gives like a +4 bonus to armor class not to be hit. So I can imagine a spell blocking the damage and reflecting off of the character. Or it could be a damage reduction where instead of the +4 to armor class, essentially it's -4 damage. Now, some would say that, damage reduction is very powerful. But if you think about it, using the standard rules of not being hit, that is damage reduction, because the damage reduction gets reduced to 0. Meaning you, Dungeon Master rolls to hit, you get an armor class bonus. If it misses your armor class below, you don't take any damage. So damage reduction, I believe, is not as effective as armor class, but then it's just descriptors. So of course, my last video is going to be all about descriptors. So again, already signed off, create, don't destroy. By all means, please give me your ideas.